Ahoy, ya mateys, and welcome aboard. I'm Rattle the Bones, and today I have a video that's gonna rattle your bones. Today, yet again, we're talking about NovaOnline and his occult following. Last time I mentioned NovaOnline, it was with his dreaded crew of gaggles on Discord, sharing horrible material of children to each other and to other people on the internet, while actively allowing other children to join this Discord server that was hidden a tiny bit. Now, the Discord server has blown up terribly since then, but more was to come out as now Bloodspeth, yes, the guy who released the Nova files, he's putting in that extra work, and he's gotten an interview with one of NovaOnline's IRL friends. We're gonna get into that and much more, mateys, but first I want to shout out me Hardy crew. Every one of me subscribers is a part of me Hardy crew, and I love y'all to my deepest bonedy depths. Now, let's get on into the video. A quick runner-up for you scallywags. So, Nova had a group of friends on Discord that were sharing CP, stuff called C-spam, which I'm pretty sure is just like lolly, so drawings of children, if that made it any better. Newsflash, it doesn't. And anyhow, he got caught and it blew up and he started panicking, saying, you know, he was scared the police were going to get involved, but at the same time saying that he wasn't doing anything bad at all. So if you're not doing anything bad, why are you scared of the police? I think we can all guess why. But he had people in the server, like people named Alice, which was the TikTok shrine girl who made a shrine of NovaOnline on her TikTok, and some other really degenerate people that Nova would throw himself at. So the interview covers the IRL friend's realization, if you can call it that, of what Nova got himself into, and so he cut ties with him, and he went onto this live stream with Bloodspeth to talk about what happened. And this was a 3-hour interview, so we're not going to get into every nook and cranny, but I will hit the hot topics. I will talk about what I want to talk about in it, and together, mateys, we're going to play a little excavation game. You see, we're going to dig through his lies, both NovaOnline's and the interviewers, his online friend. We're going to dig through their lies and find the truth. We're going to find a little bit of the truth in this. So if you can't tell, obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of NovaOnline's ex-friend, IRL. I feel like they're a buddy troll who just happened to have the convenience of being in the same town as Nova or whatever, right? He says some pretty weird things. We're going to get into some pretty weird stuff. But really, again, I want you mateys to be looking through the lines, looking between the words he says, because there lies the X marks the spot. So let's drown ourselves in this squaggle of a mess.
Time you like physically met him when you went to clean his help clean his yard?
No, so when I first met him, I wasn't trying to be a weirdo, so I got him some gifts too, just because it was also his birthday, coincidentally, like the wrist squeeze incident.
The wrist squeeze.
I think it's another good.
Why would you step away from your phone? We were in the middle of talking. You said you were eating, now you're stepping away from your phone. Explain, dude.
I'm sorry, I'm just so stressed out right now.
Dude, don't give me that. Sure, maybe you're stressed, but if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have to think about answering these very simple questions.
Captain Rattle had a brilliant idea. You see, I can't find where the IRL friend was talking to NovaOnline personally, like in a phone call, but Major Chinchilla had it in his video talking about the interview, and I would love to cover some of that. So thank you to Major Chinchilla, and let's get in to a tad bit of the tad bit.
What's the deal, dude? You said you were eating for like 30 minutes. You never sent me a picture of the food. It seems like you're lying.
Well, I stepped away from my phone.
Why would you step away from your phone? We were in the middle of talking. You said you were eating, now you're stepping away from your phone. Explain, dude.
I'm sorry, I'm just so stressed out right now.
Dude, don't give me that. Sure, maybe you're stressed, but if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't have to think about answering these very simple questions. You said you were eating 30 minutes ago. What were you eating? Why didn't you send me a picture of it? That'd be a very easy way to clear it up that you weren't just stalling.
Well, I had some chips right beside me, so I was eating those.
So you're eating chips for 30 minutes, that's why you couldn't talk to me.
Not over 30 minutes, no.
You told me you were busy eating. You told me that over 30 minutes ago. And now you're saying you were just eating chips.
I was actually eating, and I was actually stepping away from my phone.
To do what? What was so important to where you valued it more than clearing up these like crazy accusations?
I
Bro,
had to throw the garbage away, obviously.
you had to, obviously it took you 30 minutes to, like, do you hear yourself? Do you see how this sounds? Like, just take a step back and like try to look at this from my perspective. You're telling me you couldn't talk. I was trying to get a hold of you all day because of all this stuff that's been said about you. Finally, I'm texting.
Well, I've also been out all day.
Great. And now you're saying you couldn't talk for the past, now like 35 minutes because you're eating chips and you had to throw the garbage away. But you didn't say that at the time. You just said you were eating. Like, if all these things are false, like,
I was also just stressed.
why didn't you say that? Why are you lying to me?
I was stressed because I don't know if you'll believe me or not.
I mean, if you have things to say that will, support your innocence, like, of course I'll believe you. Like,
That's just that's what I was scared about.
Why? Because you don't? It just doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, even if, like, 90% of what I just saw was false, like, you were in a Discord server that did allow like, that is true, right? Dude,
I didn't know these people were sharing it until it was too late.
What do you mean you didn't know? Didn't you co-create the server?
No, I didn't. Someone else created it
Who
for
did?
me.
Who did? Someone created it for you? What do you mean by that?
Someone else created it. I didn't ask them to. They just created it.
You were in it. Doesn't matter if you asked. You said they created it for you and then you joined it.
As you Mateys can see, the whole call between him and Nova was basically just, oh, you lied to me. Well, how do you explain this Discord server full of CP and C-spam? That wasn't me. Alright, why'd you join that server? Even in the call, the guy says, it took you a long time to join my private server of just me and my friends, who, like, no one talks in that server, like, to you or anything like that. Took him, like, what was, like, a month or two or something like that? Buddy trolls, am I right? Who has a month to waste on Nova? Anyhow. He's like, it took you a while to join my server. And Nova's like, yeah, well... simple fact of the matter, man. Alright, Nova should have just said it with his chest. You're not a woman on TikTok devoting your life to me, okay? You're using Discord to hang out with friends? Cringe? Alright, here in the NovaOnline cult, alright, we use Discord for awful things against humankind. We upload and share just the worst of the worst content on the internet has available, all right? And you don't do that. Plus, you're not acceptant of me like she is, okay? You're not her, okay? And come on, that's basically it. At the end of the day, whose server do you think NovaOnline's gonna join? A server full of disgusting pieces of crap, degenerates, and one woman who's devoted to Nova, or a Discord full of, and this is in quotes, quote, normal people who just want to hang out. You know what I'm saying? Now, you make no mistake, mateys. If you haven't got it from this first clip, this dude, the IRL friend, he's a weirdo. Now, I don't want no one coming after me in the comments, but he's giving weird Mormon vibes, who's was raised Mormon, like that really heavily, like, religious restriction type of, like, growing up, but then actively ignores all of that to be a weirdo. Man, there's all those kind of people all over the internet. But this guy seemed to take the cake. He mentioned something in the, like, maybe 2 hours in to the interview with Bloodspeth, that he couldn't watch Alvin and the Chipmunks because the squirrels were satanic. Because talking squirrels are satanic. Man, I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, mateys, this is what you should be caring about. You love what you love, hate what you hate, and at the end of the day, don't push it on anybody else. Your boy Rattle, Captain Rattle, well, I love Jesus Christ, and I worship him every day. I pray to him when things are good, I pray to him when things are bad, but make no mistake, I ain't going to a church. Those people are cult. That's a cult-like religion. I mean, half of all a certain very famous type of religious people who worship the Bible are pieces of crap who do awful things to children and hate you because your skin color. so really, I don't want to be associated with any of that. I want to believe in my faith and my faith alone. I don't want someone else telling me what to believe in or anything else like that. Listen, that's why Jesus and all that, that's why their words are testaments. That's why there's Bibles. I don't need no man-made affiliation. You know what I'm saying? So do not come at me for hating a religion in the comments. I am religious, just not a cult. This pirate sails the seas freely, baby. So anyhow, he's coming off as like a weirdo to me. Not just because he's religious, but because he actively is trying to be friends with NovaOnlines. That's weird. He said, we'll get to this. He said in the interview that he watched NovaOnlines videos on TikTok for about a year. And then he's decided to, Nova's address got doxed. So his friend decided to show up with a letter and like a gift, like it's like a treat or something like that, to get his introductions going with NovaOnlines. That's pretty weird. What was the letter? A freaking love letter? You sending this dude a cutie patootie pink-hearted leather? Like what are you doing with your life? So if you guys haven't pick it up what I'm putting down, grown-ass man decides to send love letters and treats to known PDF file NovaOnlines. Yeah, that's kind of fucking weird. I don't care what your reason is. His whole reason is, oh, I'm trying to be Nova's friend so that he doesn't have a reason to say that he doesn't have adult friends to show him how to be an adult. Man, what the hell are you on? What are you talking about? This is some Ludicrous stuff, man. What the hell? That's some scallywag talk and some brig behavior, let me tell you. So enough of my, Captain ranting. Let's get into the interview so you can decide for yourself.
If you watch the live, that I wasn't just somebody trying to like fuck him over or, manipulate him. Like I was talking and hanging out with him for like 8 months. And,
Sorry to hear that.
You'll see in the text that, I really, I just wanted, somebody who looks like Nova, acts like Nova, to not look and act like Nova. I always kind of thought Nova was a little different because, I don't know, like many of you, lolcows are just kind of like an enigma to me. It's like, how does a person like this get created? I want to learn everything about them. But Nova's a little different because, at least in my opinion, or at least what used to be my opinion, I thought he was just like this sad dude who just like got a bad draw in life. And really what attracted me to him is like, I think I started watching him doing all the workout stuff. And so it's like, whoa, here's this like guy who's like actually trying. He's like acknowledging how messed up his life is. Like, I want to help that guy. And I wasn't living in the state at the time. So once I moved back to Idaho, that was when I started contacting him. And that was like in June or July. But yeah, Nova also knows who Sam Hyde is. So it wasn't like some secret, like, that I'm like some alt internet guy or anything like that.
Let's see.
What other comments?
Who is Sam Hyde? Am I chopped?
Sam Hyde he's like this dark comedian who's been kind of prevalent online for like the last 10-15 years, but he has kind of a bad rap because of a lot of the things he said are pretty objectively offensive.
I see. Oh, that's why people were kind of okay. No, I get that.
Yeah. So Sam Hyde also he does a show now called Fish Tank, which Nova told me he got invited on Fish Tank. But he told me he didn't want to join it. So he definitely knew who Sam Hyde was. He was like somewhat comfortable talking about him and potentially interacting with him. But
I mean, I remember him talking about it on stream. I didn't think he was like dead serious, but
I mean, maybe he could have been getting trolled. I don't know.
Probably. That's kind of a common.
In my opinion, super missed opportunity for him. I think what I think is a like good way to look at Nova's entire life is like missed opportunity after missed opportunity.
Oh yeah, that's Nova in a nutshell. Well, there's probably some other adjectives you can use for him.
So the scallywag immediately starts off by saying Nova stinks. He smells like ammonia, so cat pee without the cat, which is great. I'm honestly, that seems spot on. You're looking at Nova, his greasy hair, his horrible, horrible living conditions, and yeah, that makes sense. Ammonia, that's what I would guess. But then he goes on to say how he's a Sam Hyde fan. Sam Hyde being the guy who made Fish Tank, and if that name sounds familiar, it's Mr. iDubbbz Cuck, his nemesis, him and Ethan, the big two. But really, what this basically alluded to, at least the first 20 minutes, I'm not going to cover all of it, but I want to give my thoughts on most of the interview, because I had watched most of the interview, but again, I don't want to be making a 2-3 hour video on Bloodspeth's hard work, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to sum it up a little bit, because Bloodspeth, again, he did an amazing freaking job on this interview. I mean, all the talking points, the open-ended questions, he let the dude, I'm just gonna keep calling him the scallywag. The scallywag kept running himself in circles, digging himself a bigger hole, and Bloodspeth did not help him out. Dude was great. Dude needs to be a full-time interviewer. We need more people to be interviewed by Bloodspeth, because Jesus Christ, was that well done. All right, now enough glazing, let's get back into it. So he's talking about Sam Hyde and how he's a fan of Sam Hyde and how that might look bad because he's trying to hang out with a lolcow. No, you're just a big fan of Fish Tank. Why would you want to go hang out with known predator PDF file and gross ammonia maxer NovaOnline? We're just to be buddies, right? But he gives some spiel about how he wants to change Nova's life, and how he saw this dude trying really hard despite all the trolls and didn't really think nothing of it and all this other, you know what I'm saying, the bullcrap. And again, it's giving religious vibes to where it's like, oh, I need to change this person. God put me in this person's path to help their life for the better. And really, that's a nice sentiment and a decent enough ideals to have, but that doesn't work on PDF files. That doesn't work on gross muck of beings. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible and gross. And you don't apply that kind of holiness, hospitality to terrible, terrible people on the internet who, again, continue to be terrible, terrible people. I mean, what? You saw NovaOnline's TikToks, and somehow you figured out his address because it's doxed, right? Maybe it was in comments, who knows? I don't touch the poop, but this dude, Mr. Scallywag here, he swam in the poop. I mean, right off the diving board head first. He's living with the poop. The poop was in his car. But he's touching the poop worse than anybody has ever have. He's smearing himself in it. And he's going on to say stuff like, you know, how he wanted better for Nova, and how would you really get mad at Nova is like getting mad at a 2-year-old stealing your wallet, whatever. Let's immediately stop that. NovaOnline has always talked about his age regressing and how he's not mentally there and he's autistic. What the fuck ever. I mean, at this point, I do not care what you are, because the main point of it, the main takeaway of anything online, especially Nova, is you're a PDF file. I don't care. Your excuses mean nothing to me, and it shouldn't mean nothing to anybody, naturally. But anyhow, he starts trying to give this defense of Nova not knowing any better. And as you'll see in the later come of most of the interview, this is a reoccurring thing. He's always giving Nova benefits of the doubt. He's always saying like, well, Nova didn't know any better. Well, he doesn't like think correctly and all this other hogwash. Nova knows that what he's doing is bad. And we know this because he's scared to get caught. He's always scared and gets really rigidy and he's always threatening to game over himself. Anytime anything's outed, anytime something comes up, or anytime we catch his ass at being a nasty mofo. He tries something. He's scared. And now that the whole Discord stuff got blown up, he's scared the police are going to get involved. Why? Why would you give someone the benefit of the doubt who's actively hiding from authorities and his constant negative actions against minors? And no, we ain't talking about Minecraft. You know what I mean. Children. Motherfucking children. So, no, do not give this guy the benefit of the doubt or any kind of holiness hospitality. Because, one, you come off as cringe doing so, and two, it's wrong. And if you think you're going to get into heaven trying to help a PDF file, it ain't going to happen, brother. It ain't going to happen. You're barking up the wrong tree. You're banging the doors on the wrong gate, friend. Ugh. So anyways, this is a constant fucking thing in the files. He's going to keep saying this stupid crap about how Nova doesn't know any better, or he alludes to it. and then he's obviously gonna keep giving and giving and giving those benefits of the doubt. But let me tell you, sailors, let me tell you, mateys, me pirates, me hardy crew, it's dumb, cringe. And honestly, a little awkward hearing it. I would feel embarrassed telling, people, anybody. I was going to say someone that's live, but I'd be embarrassed telling anybody that I tried to help someone like NovaOnline out, A bit of a personal story time. Because it has reference to this. Now, growing up, I was a lonely lad, had about only 2 best friends to me name, and that's fine. One of them was someone I knew in like the 1st and 2nd grade. I mean, we literally grew up together. It wasn't until our mid-20s that I figured out, because he was drunk one night and let it slip, that the age of his girlfriend was a lot younger than he had originally said. Originally, I was to believe she was about 19, or just turning 19. And he was like 21 at the time, 22. So it's like, all right, whatever, that's fine. A little weird. I wouldn't go for someone just turned 19, but it's not illegal, right? No, turns out she was far younger, mateys. She was about 14 to 15. And when we figured out, me and my other friend, we did 2 things. We stopped talking to him because he's a PDF file, and we got as much information and proof that we needed to send it to the police. Nothing came of this because this was all, talking. There was no proof. They hid it very well, and we couldn't do anything legality-wise. Plus, it didn't help that this girl was head over heels for him. So she wasn't going to go to the police or anything like that. She was, going to lie for him because she had been up to this point. But no, dude was a piece of crap. And you know what you do with pieces of crap? You cut them off like tumor cancers. You pinch it off. You know what I'm saying? So what this guy's doing, what he's talking about, nonsense, hogwash, fiddle nanny. It means nothing. It's stupid, again, cringe, and not needed. You know what I'm saying? I might say a little heated, but what do you do when your friends turn out to be pieces of crap? You don't kick them out of your Discord and then go make a interview on how you hoped better for him and you were trying to help him so much. No, you cut ties, get as much information you can on him, and you alert the authorities. That's what you do. And at the end of the day, you can't do that. Then show up to the door with a broadside cannon. Boom! No, but seriously, I have, I can relate to what's going on in this. I had a friend. Now, it wasn't a friend of 8 months who was a known predator online. It was a friend I grew up with, went to the same school with, you know what I mean? It can be a little bit overwhelming or overzealous at the time. And it was definitely a little heartbreaking having someone you care about turn out to be literally the biggest pieces of crap. I mean, doing like the one thing that could ever get them cut out of your life, like willingly and knowingly, and trying to defend it too. Pretty cringe and pretty dumb. And this is what I'm seeing from Mr. Scallywag and NovaOnline. I'm kind of seeing those similarities, which is why I thought it was appropriate to bring it up. And again, what I did was vastly different from this dude did. This dude's kind of just crying online at the fact that he tried to make Nova better and Nova wouldn't be his friend or take his advice. Because, as you will see from this interview, NovaOnline only really cared about the dude because the dude was buying Nova stuff. The shower sagas? Yeah, Mr. Scallywag got Nova to do that because he bribed Nova by buying him a Bluetooth speaker to use in the shower and getting him a waterproof phone. Or a phone case just for the shower so he could make these videos so he could take a shower. And the dude and his friends would say that how they were always trying to talk to Nova about showering more and cleaning more and doing his cameos on TikTok, because if you don't know, he does cameos on TikTok. Well, he actually doesn't. You pay for cameos and he ignores them and lets them expire. So that's great. You're basically being a sugar daddy to a PDF file, a known PDF file on the internet for laughs and giggles, or because you want to be some righteous good person. You're not. You just enabled a PDF file. You know? All right. Let's get into more of the interview.
I think it's either, maybe he is just like in this unfortunate headspace where like, I don't know, he has this like polarization to his behavior versus his thoughts, or maybe he just is like a manipulative person who intentionally is lying to, creates this false identity that he wants to project.
It's a good observation. I mean, you know him much better than I do, but with all that being said, I think it's time to get started. first question I want to ask is, how'd you meet Nova?
So yeah, like I said, I had seen his videos, I think for like a year and a half, and it like made me legit sad. So I had emailed him a few times because his email is like, or at least it was like stapled to his TikTok.
Oh, it still is.
And he never responded to any of those.
Mm-hmm.
On This is a little sad. I don't take any pride in this, but on Cameo you can like send a message for $1. So after like 2 months of waiting to him reply to like the 1 or 2 emails I sent, I was like, you know what, I'll just message him on Cameo. Never got back to me. Never gave me back that $1 either. So
Well, I bet.
so then eventually when I moved back, I was like, fuck it. After like a
New
month or
tip
two, I
from
was like, I'm
Spooky
just gonna
Cake.
like I've seen his fucking address posted on TikTok comments so many times. Like, I'm just gonna go drop off like a letter. If he responds, he responds. If not, whatever. And his response to that was to immediately make a video on the letter, and I don't necessarily agree with that video. I think it was a poor decision. I don't want to give too many details about it because of the poor decisions in it. But
Mm-hmm.
and then after that, we just started talking, and after like a week or two, or maybe like a month,
Mm-hmm.
I think I wanted to like open up like prove that I was actually trying to help him. So I like saw that his lawn was like totally overgrown, like 4 feet tall in the front.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey man, like I can help you with that. Like your lawn's not large. Like this is what friends do. Like let me help you with this thing that's obviously a daunting task. So that was really like the intro to us actually being like in-person friends.
I see. Okay, that's certainly interesting. If you could go back, would you stop yourself from ever trying to be friends with Nova?
No, I'd probably do it all the same way. Just because I think the experience, well, maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that an experience of having like an adult, legitimate, like healthy friend is important. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because now for everything else he does in the future, like he won't have the excuse of like, oh, I had no one to help me. It's
Okay.
like, yeah, you did, dude. Like you had me. I was there for almost a year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
trying to give you advice whenever you needed it or would ask for it. Like, trying to
Mm-hmm.
help you with like random little shit, like taking you to the store, like helping
Oh,
you with your lawn twice, like
wow.
taking him out on little excursions just to make sure he gets out of the house. I think we went to the arcade like 4 or 5 times. So yeah, I'd do it all again just because I don't like otherwise he would just be able to say like, "Oh, I've never had someone to like help me or guide me,"
Mm-hmm.
which is just a lie.
That is true, and he does use that excuse still, from what I've seen. Well, he uses a plethora of them, but that is interesting. I never even really thought of that. Well, thank you, Spooky Cake, by the way, for the 5. And what like when you first interacted with him, what was your like impression seeing Nova online in the flesh, in the rotten flesh?
It actually surprised me a little bit, just because he's a very bubbly person online. Like he's always, and not even just online. Like, when I would take him to the arcade a few times,
Mm-hmm.
it was like it's very interesting how his mind operates. Like I met him the first time, he wouldn't even look at me. Like he wouldn't even look me in the eyes, and I was like helping him with his lawn. And I'm not like a passive person. I address stuff like that. So within like the first 5 minutes, I was like, why aren't you making eye contact with me? Like, why are you looking at the ground?
Mm-hmm.
And he told me like, oh, I'm really nervous. I don't like hang out with people that much. And I was like, oh, okay. But then like later we go to like the arcade like a couple weeks later, and I'm having to tell him to like stop screaming because he got like the bonus on the coin machine or something. So it's like this weird dichotomy of like super nervous but also like totally unaware of how he's projecting his presence. I mean, and that extends to his hygiene, obviously. Like, I don't know how many of the people watching now like heard the phone call from the stream a while ago, but like his hygiene was like a consistent problem, and so it's just very strange to me where you're like this person who scared to look somebody in the eyes, but you're comfortable with like having a scent that is, smellable from like 5 feet away. It's like
Jeez.
really strange.
Was it really that bad?
Yeah, and I'm a big honesty guy. I don't like exaggeration just because I think it takes away from like.
Time you like physically met him when you went to clean his help clean his yard?
No, so when I first met him, I wasn't trying to be a weirdo, so I got him some gifts too, just because it was also his birthday, coincidentally, like couple days prior. So I didn't want it to I got him like candy, and I didn't want it to melt in his mailbox because it was like 95 degrees out. So I ended up just like leaving it on his door and knocking, and he opened the door before I was even down the steps. So I met him then, like basically immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I just explained like, oh, this was not my intention. I was just leaving you like a gift and a letter. Like,
Uh-huh. And how did he take
so that was
that?
the first time I met him.
Hmm. Was he like thankful? Was he like what was
He
his
was a
reaction?
little, he seemed more concerned that, I don't want to say concerned. He seemed hesitant, and I can understand why. Like, you have a stranger at your door,
Mm-hmm.
like giving you things. So, I mean, I think that's how most people would act. But,
That's fair. That's
but
fair. I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
no.
Okay, okay. And so that was the first time you met. Was the second time when you went to clean his yard?
Yeah, so I think what we did, I'm either it was either two separate times and I'm mixing them up, or I'm pretty sure it was one time. But I helped him with his backyard specifically, and then I took him out to a restaurant he mentioned he liked a lot, like right after. No,
Mm-hmm.
I know for certain that's what happened because I remember I like couldn't breathe because of my allergies.
I see. I see. And were you able to go inside?
Yeah, yeah, we ate inside.
Inside the
Uh,
house.
oh, in his house? No, I was never allowed in his house. That was made very clear from like the start, like very
Mhm.
clear
By who?
by him.
By him.
And then and then when I met his mother, I only met her twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first time was when I was helping him with the yard. She was like going to some appointment or running some errand, so she was like pulling out of the driveway, or maybe she was pulling it. No, yeah, she was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And as she was leaving, I like stopped what I was doing and like walked up to her car and like introduced myself. And Gabriel eventually walked up to me, and she didn't really say like anything to me. She almost like, because I think I just said like, "Hey, my name is whatever. Like, I'm just here to help him with the yard and stuff." And she like looked past me kind of, and then like looked over at Gabriel and said like, "He's not allowed in the house." And I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically the extent of my interaction with her mom, or his mom. But it was made very clear multiple times that I did was not allowed in there. I didn't, for the record, I didn't want to go in there.
So, as you can see, mateys, some pretty scallywag stuff going on. Now, one of the things, there's a few things, let's be honest. Some of the things I wanted to highlight was the whole backyard incident that Mr. Scallywag would go to Nova's house, clean up his yard, clean up the trash around it, and he would eventually move on to the backyard to clean it up. And he said that there were a lot of trash everywhere. Apparently, after Nova's food reviews, he just pushed the trash into his garden, into his bushes, just off the glass table they had at the back, whatever it was, which is pretty gross. And honestly, maybe the thing that rattles my bones most in this video. Now, I don't talk about it a lot, and I probably ain't, but I take care of outside cats. I feed a lot of outside cats, and I'm hoping to make this platform a place where I can get monetized, because cat food, wet or dry, and vet trips are not cheap at all. They are very expensive, and I care very much. So I'm gonna be shilling out this money one way or another. You know what I mean? But as I'm outside a lot and I'm, taking care of cats in different areas and whatnot, I'm always picking up trash. Whether it's my neighbors that blow into my yard, whether someone's trash can's overspilling, I'm always cleaning up the trash. Not to be nice, because Rattle ain't nice like that. I care about my environment. You see, if we end up destroying the planet that we stand on, what's gonna happen to the cats, mateys? Think about the animals. Think about all the kitties. What's gonna happen to them if our planet's full of trash? They gotta live in trash. And no cat deserves to live in trash. Nova, he's fine with living in trash, but no cat deserves that. So I'm always picking up trash, always cleaning up around my environment, not because I have to, but because for the cats. But this fat dude is just every piece of trash I pick up, he puts 10 down, right? So it's awful to hear about someone giving no F's about what they live in or their environment outside. I mean, actively just dumping your fast food trash out in the lawns? Are you kidding me? Not only can that bring in critters like raccoons or deer, maybe even bears if you live in the right area, right? You're just actively killing the environment because you're a fat piece of crap who doesn't care. Well, guess what, Mr. Online? I care, matey, and I'm gonna be holding you accountable. You can bet your arse. So, if it's not worse enough that there's a dude actively going over to help a PDF file clean up his place because the file is too lazy, he's not deformed, all right? He's not unable, he's not handicapped in any way. He's just fat and lazy and smelly. And of course, because of that, he has to dirty up and make the outside smelly too. Because even in Mr. Scallywag's own words, all right, you drive up to the driveway of the Novine residence, and it already smells like trash and ammonia before you even get to the door. Don't you just love a good house you could smell from the curbside? Isn't that just fantastic? I bet it's not even the house you're smelling; it's probably the backyard. But there's one more secret little hidden treasure in the backyard, mateys. X marks the spot, and we found gold. Of course, for those who don't know, NovaOnline makes paracord bracelets. Those weird feeling, ugly looking bracelets that people make. Well, now you can buy one from a PDF file on TikTok. So do you want one that has bedbug residue made by a PDF file? No, not usually, but there's some weirdos out there that do. Just like the infamous Sonic Chew medallion, which is unholy. Now, you make no mistake right now, all right? The biggest reason I'm not talking about some of these low colors, like the Sonic Chew involved one, is because that stuff is unholy to high hell. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm not even going to think about them. I didn't even feel comfortable mentioning that little medallion. That thing has to be cursed. Bad omens all around. And that's what I take of these paracord bracelets as. But for those who don't know, he has a paracord bracelet thing he does. And since he's always trying to game over himself or squeeze wrist, as people in the Novine community would call it, because he's always threatening the game end, he made a paracord noose that's hanging around his tree in the backyard. I cannot make this up, and for the love of God, I wish we could get a Google view of this thing, because apparently it's only big enough to put someone's wrist in it. So he's trying to stop circulation to his wrist via paracord noose on tree. But it's insane. It is insane to hear that all of this ruffamaroo that's gone on in Nova's head to where he thinks he can just bait doing these kind of stuff and it'll automatically get everyone to stop talking about his awful deeds. It's gotten to the point to where he's made a paracord noose for his backyard. Dude, that's crazy. And all I gotta say is kick the chair. Kick the chair. Do it. But of course he won't, because he's faking it. He's a faker, just like Andy Ditch the poop squatch. He's a faker. I don't have to be worried about saying this kind of stuff, because he ain't gonna do it. This is just a means to get people to shut up because he's doing bad stuff to children. And guess what, Nova? We ain't. In my opinion, one less PDF file in the world, well, that's a little better. And if it takes a paracord noose to do so, more power to you. This is so crazy. And most of all, don't get my joking twisted. It is cringe. He's never going to do anything. And again, it's wrist size. So what are you going to do? Going to cut off circulation to your wrist? You might lose your hand. You're already going to lose one of your feet because diabetes is knocking at the door. So you're just going to lose one of your hands too? Yeah, okay, whatever, man.
There is the wrist squeeze incident.
The wrist squeeze.
I think it's another good example of like how his brain maybe functions, but like most adults can recognize. Let me say this. So the first time I came to Nova's to help him with his yard, we go in the back and there's a paracord hanging from a tree with like a loop at the end that's like wrist size. I didn't know about the wrist squeezing incident. I had no idea. And so I'm like cleaning up all the trash from his backyard, because he just like, when he does those food reviews in his backyard, he just like pushes it off his glass table and just like throws it in the weeds. So I was like cleaning all the trash up, and I'm like, what's up with this like paracord just like hanging from this tree right here? And I should also mention the branch was like maybe 6 feet high. And the string, like the loop where it's funny. It is funny from an objective standpoint, but I should also say like it's not funny. Suicide is never funny.
No, of course not. But him
But
making a
I
mockery
just
of
don't. Yeah. No. I just want to make sure I cover my bases.
Yes, of course. Glad you did.
But yeah. But in the loop, the paracord loop was maybe like 3 or 4 feet off the ground. So I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's from a really dark time in my life," or he said something to that effect. And I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because it's like it's not a noose. Like everyone knows what a noose looks like. That's not what this is. And he's like, and then he explains like, "Oh, I tried to, like, you know, end it," and I was like, "How?" Because I was like looking at it, I'm like, "How?" Like, what is the? I understand what you're saying, and I understand what I'm looking at. I don't see how they connect.
God.
And he's like, "From squeezing my wrist," and so I'm like thinking.
Sorry, go.
I'm like, okay, so it's tied to a tree, which makes me think he was like hanging from the tree, but the loop's only like 3.5 feet, 4 feet off the ground, so he's probably seated on the ground. So he's probably just like sitting on his butt on the ground with his wrist in the air, like just like really tight.
Oh my.
And so I can't recall if I told him then. I'm like, I don't think that can do that. I don't think that works like that.
Oh my.
Which. So the question is, did he know that? The question is, was this all an act for himself? Like, again, there's only 2 options. Either he's like so unintelligent, he legitimately thinks that could have ended it, or he just wanted to say, like, oh, I like attempted, and then like he could then in the future use that to like, you know, empathize with himself or like get empathy from other people.
Oh my God.
A follow-up question to that is, how long was he sitting on the ground before he was like, I'm gonna make a change? And like,
oh my God. So
I mean, my assumption is some part of him understood that like that's not gonna do anything, but he just wanted to be able to say like, oh, like I tried this. I'm a warrior. I fought through it.
so
Which, you know, that's all assumption. I don't actually know his thought process going into that event, but those are just based on everything I saw and the absurdity of it. That's just what I'm assuming, is that some part of him knew like this isn't doing anything, but from this point forward, I'll be able to say like, you know, I beat this.
my goodness. So
Thank you to all me scurvy mateys who made it this far in the video. You probably have scurvy now watching all that and hearing some of that degeneracy. But thank you for staying here and listening to your captain rant. Huge shout out to Bloodspeth, to Major Gengela, and of course, Antimatter Morty. Thank all of ya for your contribution on this Noah arc. And thank everybody who's ever covered Nova. Give yourself a pat on the back for not being a piece of crap. And again, yet another glaze. Huge shout out to Bloodspeth for the interviews, for the files, and just for putting Nova in his goddamn place. Thank you all. I appreciate it all so much. What's this? There's more. There's more, mateys. Apparently, it has come out that NovaOnline has a P-Hub account and is doing some OF content. That's what it seemed like at first. For those who don't know, a lot of people came across NovaOnline's orange and black account on the P-Hub, if you know what I mean, and then maybe some stuff on the OF. The content, I'll keep it brief with you, mateys. The content was of him apparently maybe using a wand, using something to pleasure himself with his door wide open. So I'm sure his mom would love to see that. And these videos got uploaded, but it was with his NovaOnline name, so a lot of people, including myself, think this was blackmail. For those who don't know, in the Discord fiasco, he kept ranting about how he was blackmailed. He was being blackmailed, and he has to stay in the server, he has to be friends with these people, whatever. Really, it felt like, you know, a grasp for straws, because he does this all the time. He ignores you, or he grasps for straws. It's either or. But we are led to believe this is actual blackmail because he did stop doing something with somebody. Which brings me back to, you know, the very first topic at hand, him throwing himself with these weird creeps just because there was a woman involved. And now it looks he got it into. It got you a new P-Hub account, Nova, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy your Wednesday, mateys. Have a good one. Farewell, you scurvy crew.